I'd like to call the regular village board meeting for June 15th, 2026 to order. Clerk Benton, please call roll.
Mayor Mullen,
Here.
Trustee McGovern,
Present.
Trustee Grau is absent. Trustee McQuillan,
Here.
Trustee Olson,
Here.
Trustee Simon.
Here.
With a physical quorum of the board present, in accordance with the Illinois Open Meetings Act and Village Ordinance, Trustee Duffy has requested to participate in this evening's meeting electronically due to personal illness. Is there a motion approving Trustee Duffy's electronic participation?
So moved. Second.
Motion and second. Any discussion? Clerk Benton, please call roll.
Trustee Simon,
Aye.
Trustee McGovern,
Aye.
Trustee McQuillan,
Aye.
and that is it.
All right. Trustee Duffy? Did you say Olson? No, you didn't.
Olson. Sorry, Trustee Olson.
Aye.
All righty. Trustee Duffy, can you confirm that you can hear us?
I can. Trustee also would have voted no matter what.
Fair. All right. And with that, will you please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. First up tonight is a proclamation recognizing July 4th as Independence Day in the village of Lisle. Our proclamation reads, whereas on July 4th, 2026, our nation will commemorate and celebrate the 250th anniversary of the signing of the Declaration of Independence. And whereas the journey towards this historic milestone is an opportunity to pause and reflect on our nation's past and honor the contributions of all. And whereas on July 4th, 1776, the Second Continental Congress formally adopted the Declaration of Independence, asserting the American colonies' freedom from British rule and laying the foundation for the principles of democracy and self-governance. And whereas the U.S. Semi-Quincentennial Commission was established by Congress in 2016 to plan and orchestrate the 250th anniversary of the signing of the Declaration of Independence, aiming to engage all Americans in commemorating this historic event. And whereas the Lisle Park District, Village of Lisle, Lisle Police Department, Lisle Woodridge Fire Protection District, Lisle Library, and Lisle Area Chamber of Commerce have partnered on this day to bring the community together to celebrate. And whereas the Lisle Park District will host the first summer concert series on Friday, July 3rd at Lisle Community Park with performances by Alt 101 and Mike and Joe starting at 5:30 p.m., followed by an extended spectacular fireworks display at approximately 9:30 p.m. And whereas children are invited to take part in the parade by festively decorating their bikes and trikes and line up at Lisle Junior High at 9:30 a.m., whereas the Lisle 4th of July parade will begin at 10 a.m. and travel down Main Street and end on Center Avenue. And whereas the community is invited to an ice cream social following the parade hosted by the Lisle Heritage Society with patriotic music being performed by the Lisle Community Band. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed, I, Mary Jo Mullen, Mayor of the Village of Lisle, do hereby encourage all residents, businesses, and community organizations to join in the activities for a fun-filled historical day celebrating America and participate in July 3rd and 4th Independence Day activities. I also want to mention, and we'll talk more about it later, I believe, that in addition to the 250th anniversary of America, this year is also the 70th anniversary of the incorporation of Lisle. So that'll be another aspect that we'll be celebrating on the 3rd and 4th. And with that, we move to public comment. Is there anyone here wishing to provide public comment? As a reminder, Village Code provides individuals up to 5 minutes per person. And if you come on down for public comment, please just state your name.
Hi, Laurel Myers, longtime resident of Lisle. First of all, I want to thank you for the brush pickup after the storm. Lisle has always been great with that and snow removal, so I do have praises for that. I'm going to talk about the rebranding, but I'll wait until the second half. And I want to talk about the parking downtown and actually functioning how to go when you're going north to get south. downtown. Can you make, I know there's spots where you cannot make U-turns. Can you make a U-turn at Main and School? Or up by the former Fox restaurant? There's no signs there that says no U-turn, but the only way you can go south is to go out on the Ogden Avenue and go down these roads that now have construction going on to come back and go south. There's no way to go, if you're going north and there's parking spots on the west side of the road, to get to them. My husband has limited mobility. I can't go park at the train station or Garfield or whatever. He needs to be really close, and so far we've been really lucky as far as the handicap parking, or at least being able to find a spot where he can get in and out of the car. But we go to the dentist's office probably once a month, and it's a real problem. And I know you guys didn't design this downtown, which was a fiasco to begin with, but it's here now. So what's going to happen when all those apartments go in? What's going to happen to the parking? I've driven through town sometimes, and there's no spots on Main Street for anybody to park. So I just want to know what's going to happen. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else for public comment?
Hi, good evening. My name's Jean Tortorelli. I live in Lisle, down on Tanglewood. I've lived there since 2014. And I do want to comment on the rebranding, so hopefully it's okay to comment now and not wait. Not sure how this is all supposed to work. But, I sent an email, I think, in March. Wasn't sure, never saw a response, so I just want to make sure that, we're getting the message across. I feel like, so in my day job, I manage a pretty large budget, and this budget's made up of lots and lots of small things. And maybe this isn't a big thing. I think you've already spent $30,000 or $40,000 on the rebranding, and I guess I just think it's a little tone deaf right now. Taxes keep going up, the process, this is costing money, and we're not even done with the design yet. There's going to be implementation costs, so all the signage, the trucks, shirts, letterhead, that's all going to cost more. And then every time you print it, because it's color, it's going to cost more. And for what value? I mean, I'm very supportive of promoting Lisle. I think it's a great town, great village, and but I'm not sure, or I don't believe that a company would not come here because the leaves on the tree of the logo of Lisle doesn't have color in it. That was really pretty much the only big difference I could see. In fact, you have this recognition now, and so you're going to lose that if you switch logo. And then I also think there's probably going to be more fees, whether it's finalizing the design or having legal review to make sure that whatever company you're hiring to make this logo, it hasn't been picked up someplace else. It's the tip of the iceberg on fees. The money can be better spent. There's got to be better ways to spend this money. So that's all I have to say. So thank you for considering that, and appreciate your service.
Thank you very much. Anyone else for public comment?
Hi, my name is Megan Hahnemann. I've been a Lisle resident for 28 years. I sent an email to the mayor and board members, and I did not get a response from anyone, so I'm just going to read my email tonight. I am writing to voice my opposition to the new logo and rebranding initiative. It is fiscally irresponsible and a waste of time and resources. I have spoken to numerous residents regarding this initiative. Not a single person that I have discussed this with is in support of the new logo or rebranding. The money spent on the design firm was bad enough. My 23-year-old son, who is an architectural designer, had the following to say about the new logo, and I quote, "If you are going to go for a redesign, your position on aesthetic and design within the village needs to be aligned with something that is far enough removed from the original in order to validate the change. The design firm went from a tree to a different tree. Groundbreaking. However, even if the logo was significantly different, I would still be opposed, as it is unnecessary to waste money on a change. Please cut our losses and do not move forward with changing the logo and rebranding our village. Thank you.
Thank you. And
Susan Surreal. I'm going to apologize to these people up here because this board does not ever respond to anybody, and it's terrible. You are here for your constituents, and you should be answering to them. Again, this happens all the time with people when they come in here. They say that. Tonight, I'm not here to ask for another update. I'm not here to ask for another study. I am here to ask for another committee, or not another committee, I'm sorry. I am not here to ask for another meeting. I am here to ask one simple question. What is the plan? Because after more than 20 years, this is the question Oakview residents deserve an answer to. At the last meeting, the only mention of Oakview came from Trustee Sima regarding the July 14th meeting with the ICC and Illinois American, and I appreciate that. Residents should attend, residents should participate, residents should voice their opinions and be heard. But let's be honest about what the meeting is. The meeting is about a rate increase. It is not a solution for Oakview. It does not answer who owns the infrastructure. It does not answer where the deeds are. It does not answer where the easements are. It does not answer why 68 years of village taxpayers continue to be treated differently than the other village residents. And it certainly does not answer why this village intends to do for the more than 400 Oakview homes located within its corporate limits. Because that is the question that keeps getting ignored. What is the village's plan? Not the ICC's plan, not Illinois American's water plan, the village's plan. 20 years ago, there was a task force. 20 years ago, options were identified. 20 years ago, solutions were discussed. 20 years ago, residents were told the issue was important. And 20 years later, we are still here. Still asking, still waiting, still paying, month after month, year after year, bill after bill, $200, $300, $350 every month for more than 400 homes, for residents who have paid taxes into this village for 68 years. Think about that, 68 years. Some of the people who built this community are gone. Some of the officials who promised solutions are gone. Some of the residents who fought for answers are gone. But the problem remains, and so does the waiting. Because every time Oakview residents ask for answers, we get process instead of progress. We get updates instead of outcomes. We get discussions instead of decisions. We get explanations instead of solutions. And after 20 years, residents have earned the right to ask, is anyone actually trying to solve this? Because from where we sit, it looks like everyone agrees there's a problem, everyone agrees residents are frustrated, and everyone agrees costs are high. Everyone agrees questions remain unanswered, yet somehow nothing changes. And that's what people are noticing. The village has demonstrated it knows how to move difficult projects forward. We've seen it. When something becomes a priority, agencies get coordinated, funding gets identified, partnerships get built, timelines get created, projects move, government acts. That's what leadership looks like. So why doesn't Oakview have a roadmap? Why doesn't Oakview have milestones? Why doesn't Oakview have deadlines? Why doesn't Oakview have publicly stated objectives? Why doesn't Oakview have a solution strategy after more than 20 years? Because at some point we're working on it, stops being an answer. At some point we're looking into it, stops being an answer. And at some point we'll provide updates, stops being the answer. 20 years is the point. The truth is residents are tired of hearing about the process. Residents want to know the destination. Where are we going? What is the goal? What is the village trying to accomplish, and when? Because every month that passes means another bill, another burden, another month where more than 400 Oakview homes continue paying while waiting for leadership to decide what comes next. And let's be clear, Oakview is not asking for special treatment. We're asking for equal treatment. Oakview is asking for the same urgency and the same determination, the same problem solving, the same commitment that government routinely provides elsewhere. After 68 years of paying taxes into this village, that should not be controversial request. It should be the minimum expectation. So tonight, I'm asking this board one question. What is the plan? Not next year, not someday, not after another study, not after another meeting. What is the plan? Because 20 years ago, residents were told the issue would be addressed. 20 years later, we're still waiting. And every month that passes makes it harder for residents to believe that waiting is a plan. Because if 20 years of meetings cannot produce a solution, then residents have every right to wonder whether anyone is actually trying to find one. Can I have 15 seconds?
15 seconds.
And I'll leave you with this. 68 years of paying taxes, 20 years of waiting, more than 400 homes still searching for answers. The question is no longer whether Oakview has been heard. The question is whether Oakview matters enough to this village to act. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else for public comment? All right, seeing none, we're going to move into our consent agenda. Items listed as part of the consent agenda are considered routine in nature and will be voted on together as a group unless a member of the village board requests to be considered separately. Tonight's consent agenda includes the June 1st regular village board meeting minutes and the June 15th invoice list. So if there's a request to amend minutes or discuss an invoice item, please ask for the item to be removed. Does anyone here wish to remove an item from consent agenda? Seeing none, then I'm going to turn it over to Manager Cook to go over and present an overview of what's on the agenda.
Thank you, and good evening, Mayor and members of the Village Board. Tonight's consent agenda includes item A, which approves the regular Village Board meeting minutes for June 1st, 2026. Item B, which approves the invoice list for June 15th, 2026 in the amount of $666,348.01. Item C acknowledges the monthly treasurer's report for May 2026. Item D approves a resolution authorizing the issuance of a purchase order for bulk rock salt to Compass Minerals America Incorporated in the amount not to exceed $74,330. This purchase is coordinated through a joint bidding arrangement with DuPage County and provides for the purchase of up to 1,000 tons of salt. Item E approves a resolution authorizing the execution of an intergovernmental agreement with the Downers Grove Sanitary District for temporary shared fuel facility services. The district right now is replacing their fueling facility this year, and this agreement will allow them to fuel their larger vehicles and equipment at the village's fueling station at cost on a temporary basis. And then lastly, item F approves a resolution authorizing the village manager to execute an agreement with Civil Tech Engineering Incorporated for professional engineering services for the pavement management report in an amount not to exceed $74,127. For those who might not know, the pavement management report is performed every 5 years to assess the condition of roadway pavements throughout the village. The results inform our annual street rehabilitation program, and the report also fulfills a requirement that permits the village to participate in the Federal Surface Transportation Program, which provides grant funding for qualifying infrastructure improvements. Staff is recommending the village board approve items A through F as presented. Thank you.
Thank you very much. May I have a motion to approve items A through F?
So moved. Second.
There's a motion and second. Any public comment on these? Any discussion? Village Clerk Benton, please call the roll.
Trustee Sima?
Aye.
Trustee McGovern?
Aye.
Trustee Olson?
Aye.
Trustee McQuillan?
Aye.
Yes.
Okay, Trustee Duffy?
Aye.
All right, thank you, and the consent agenda passes. That'll bring us to our regular agenda. First up is an ordinance approving minor amendments to the eligibility report and redevelopment plan and project dated May 26, 2026 for the Village of Lisle, Lincoln Avenue, Route 53 redevelopment project area, tax and current finance district. Is there a motion to approve this ordinance?
So moved. Second.
There's a motion and second. Would Manager Cook please provide an overview of this item?
Certainly, Mayor. The item before the board this evening, as you mentioned, is an ordinance approving minor amendments to the eligibility report, redevelopment plan and project, and for the reestablishment of the Lincoln Avenue Route 53 TIF district. SB Freeman prepared an updated eligibility report and redevelopment plan and project for this purpose, and after that document was prepared, data for the year 2025 became available, which has then subsequently been integrated in the revised report dated May 26, 2026, which constitutes a minor amendment to the document. The ordinance presented tonight approves the amended document to include that 2025 data, and staff recommends approval of the proposed ordinance as presented.
Thank you very much. Is there any public comment on this item? Any board discussion? Seeing none, Clerk Benton, please call roll.
Trustee Seibel?
Aye.
Trustee McGovern?
Aye.
Trustee Duffy?
Aye.
Trustee McQuillan?
Aye.
And Trustee Olson?
Aye.
And Mayor Mullen?
Aye. And motion passes. Next up is an ordinance approving the Village of Lisle, Lincoln Avenue, Route 53 redevelopment project area, tax increment financing district, its redevelopment project area, its eligibility report, and its redevelopment plan and project. Is there a motion to approve this ordinance?
So moved. Second.
Motion and second. Would Manager Cook please provide an overview of this and the following two items?
Certainly. As you mentioned, the next three ordinances, items B, C, and D, function together to reestablish the Lincoln Avenue Route 53 TIF district. The first ordinance before the board this evening approves the redevelopment project area, eligibility report, and redevelopment plan and project. The second ordinance that is before the board this evening designates the redevelopment project area for that TIF district. And then finally, the third ordinance adopts tax increment financing to be utilized within that redevelopment project area. So to go forward and reestablish the Lincoln Avenue Route 53 TIF district, staff recommends approval of the three ordinances as presented this evening. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any public comment on this item? Any board discussion? Seeing none, Clerk Benton, please call roll.
Trustee Seibel?
Aye.
Trustee McGovern?
Aye.
Trustee Duffy?
Aye.
Trustee McQuillan?
Aye.
Trustee Olson?
Aye.
And Mayor Mullen?
Aye, and motion passes. Next is the ordinance designating the redevelopment project area for the Village of Lisle, Lincoln Avenue, Route 53 redevelopment project area, tax increment financing district. Is there a motion to approve this ordinance?
So moved. Second.
Motion and second. Any public comment? Any board discussion? Seeing none, Clerk Benton, please call roll.
Trustee Seibel?
Aye.
Trustee McGovern?
Aye.
Trustee Duffy?
Aye.
Trustee McQuillan?
Aye.
Trustee Olson?
Aye.
Mayor Mullen?
Aye, and motion passes. And finally, of this grouping, an ordinance adopting tax increment financing for the Village of Lisle, Lincoln Avenue, Route 53 redevelopment project area, tax increment financing district. Is there a motion to approve this ordinance?
Oh, sorry. So moved. Second.
There's a motion and second. Any public comment? Any board discussion? Okay, seeing none, Clerk Benton, please call roll.
Trustee Seibel?
Aye.
Trustee McGovern?
Aye.
Trustee Duffy?
Aye.
Trustee McQuillan?
Aye.
Trustee Olson?
Aye.
Mayor Mullen?
Aye, and motion passes. Next up, item E is a resolution authorizing the execution of an intergovernmental agreement, a memorandum of understanding between the Village of Lisle and Lisle Community Unit School District Number 202 for a police school resource officer. Is there a motion to approve this resolution?
So moved. Second.
Motion and second. Would Deputy Chief Gomorzak please provide an overview of this and the following item?
Good evening, Mayor and Village Board. Deputy Chief Craig Gomorzak here, appearing before you this evening to present on the updated school resource officer memorandums of understanding between the Lisle Police Department, Lisle Community School Unit District 202, and Naperville Unit School District 203. These updates are required to comply with the Public Act 104-0430, which is going to take effect on July 1st, 2026. This update requires school districts that utilize school resource officers to maintain a formal memorandum of understanding with their partnering law enforcement agencies. While we have these agreements in place for years, the updated MOUs ensure compliance with the new law, and they clearly define the roles and the responsibilities, training requirements, and expectations for the school resource officers we have assigned to those schools. This SRO topic is especially meaningful to me. As I approach 24 years in law enforcement, I have the privilege of serving as both a school resource officer and a juvenile detective for 5 years at my previous agency. Those experiences showed me firsthand the positive impact that strong relationships between law enforcement and students can have on a school community. Today, the Lisle Police Department continues that tradition through the outstanding work of Officer Justin Lewis, at the Lisle High School, and Officer Brian Rolls, who's in the back today, at Kennedy Junior High. They do far more than just respond to incidents for us. They serve as mentors, educators, models, and trusted resources for students and staff. These agreements reflect strongly on the partnership that we have between our school districts, the Village of Lisle, the Police Department also. We would like to thank both the school district's leadership teams for their continued support and collaboration on this project. Together, we remain committed to providing a safe, secure, and supportive environment where students can learn and succeed. On behalf of Chief Rodriguez and the members of the Police Department, we look forward to continuing our shared commitment to safety, well-being, and success of every student we serve. We respectfully request approval of these updated agreements. I'm here for any questions.
Thank you so much. Is there any public comment on this item? Any board discussion? I'll just say from my own personal experience in 202, I can't speak to Kennedy's experience, but I'm sure it's equally amazing. Our SROs have always been just fabulous and incredible resource to the kids there. So I'm very happy that we have such a strong relationship. And with that, I'll ask Clerk Benton to call the roll.
Trustee Sima?
Aye.
Trustee McGovern?
Aye.
Trustee Duffy?
Aye.
Trustee McQuillan?
Aye.
Trustee Olson?
Aye.
And motion passes. Next up, a resolution authorizing the execution of an intergovernmental agreement and memorandum of understanding between the Village of Lisle and Board of Education of Naperville CUSD number 203 for a police school resource officer. Is there a motion to approve this ordinance?
So moved. Second.
There's motion and second. Any public comment? Any board discussion? Seeing none, Clerk Benton, please call roll.
Trustee Sima?
Aye.
Trustee McGovern?
Aye.
Trustee Duffy?
Aye.
Trustee McQuillan?
Aye.
Trustee Olson?
Aye.
And motion passes. And last up on the regular agenda is an ordinance amending the fiscal year 2026-2027 compensation and staffing plan. Is there a motion to approve this ordinance?
So moved. Second.
There's a motion and second. Would Manager Cook please provide an overview of this item?
Yes, Mayor, thank you. This item amends the fiscal year 26-27 compensation and staffing plan, essentially to convert 2 part-time positions to full-time status and adjust staff positions that relate to the finance department. As we've discussed at prior meetings, the recent departure of 2 finance staff members has created an opportunity to build on our restructuring efforts while we search for a new finance director. 2 part-time finance positions already work 30 hours a week, performing many of the day-to-day tasks that make the village's financial operations run, including key areas of accounts payable, accounts receivable, and payroll. With the transition of finance staff, there's not only a need for additional hours, but also efforts to retain our current dedicated staff. The ordinance presented this evening also adjusts the authorized positions related to finance by deleting 3 positions and adding back 2, which provides for a structure that will be led by the incoming finance director. Staff is requesting board approval of the ordinance as presented. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any public comment on this item? Any board discussion? Seeing none, Clerk Benton, please call roll.
Trustee Sima?
Aye.
Trustee McGovern?
Aye.
Trustee Duffy?
Aye.
Trustee McQuillan?
Aye.
Trustee Olson?
Aye.
And motion passes. That'll bring us to officials and staff reports. I want to start off first with thanking Public Works for multiple nights of storm duty. I know there was a lot of work that had to go into clearing the roads and making everything passable. I really appreciate that. And for the, as one of our public commenters mentioned, the additional brush pickup is also, I know, very well appreciated. So thank you to everyone in Public Works. I do want to address a few things from public comment for Laurel. I do want to try and ask DC Gomorzak to just check in with her after we conclude this meeting to get some of your questions answered about U-turns and stuff like that. And just when the apartments come, the project that's being proposed by Flaherty and Collins, there will be a parking garage for all the residents plus 90 public spaces in there as well. So that is anticipated to grow our ability to have parking that serves downtown. So just FYI on that. For those who commented on branding, I did get your emails. I apologize, I was traveling last week and I didn't get to respond to yours from last week. I was taking it more as like feedback for tonight. But I do hope you stick around for Committee of the Whole. The effort is a lot more than a logo. It is really about modernizing our whole marketing approach as well. So we'll talk a little bit to that and what the implementation plan is. And it's been done very thoughtfully so that we're not spending money to change something just to change it. It's if we're going to go into maintenance, if we have to repaint the water tower, we'll do it then. So that we're already factoring in, we have to spend money, so we'll just take care of it then. So we're trying to be as cautious as possible in the planning for implementation. So I know just from working with the village manager that they're trying really hard to make sure that that's not a lot of like significant additional investment being proposed tonight. And then for IAW, it's hard to have a plan in place when we have to have costing and a lot of detailed information in order to put together the plan. That's ongoing. We have actually gotten responses to an RFP so that we can keep moving forward with that. You know, that one thing that did happen 20 years ago was there was an offer on the table, but it was not accepted by the majority of the residents. So we're kind of switching, understanding what you did not like about the idea of doing an SSA and things, and trying to make sure that we're being more responsive to that. So we're still working on a plan. I know it's not what you want to hear, but we can't invest $40 million of taxpayer money in Lisle without being really certain what we're doing and justifying it to everybody who lives here, not just the people who are going to benefit. It's important that everybody knows and understands what's happening. And with that, I'll ask if any trustees have a report. Seeing none, Clerk Benton, anything for you? Staff reports.
Just a few things, Mayor. One, I'd like to echo your comments and thanking our Public Works Department for their effort responding last week, along with earlier today, the ongoing extra branch pickup that they completed or are in the process of completing. Another item related to the downtown TIF district, there is a draft amended redevelopment plan and project that was filed with the clerk's office, and it's been available on the village's website since last Wednesday, June 10th. An ordinance calling for a public hearing and joint review board meeting for a major amendment to that downtown TIF plan is expected to be brought forward at the next board meeting. Continuing on, and with weather as the subject, it does look like weather may be a factor again for this week's food truck event on Wednesday. The village will continue to be monitoring that weather and share updates if conditions are going to impact that event. And then finally, kind of building off of what you said earlier, Mayor, this is our last meeting before the 4th of July and our nation's 250th anniversary. So I want to just say happy birthday, America. But also something that people might not know and that you mentioned earlier is that this year's event also coincides with the village's 70th anniversary, which is coming up here on June 26th. To commemorate that occasion, the Lisle Park District had designed light pole banners that celebrate America 250, but also gave a head nod to the village of Lisle's 70th by incorporating 7 stars in the design, which each star represents a decade since the village of Lisle's incorporation. So stop by the last food truck event next week on June 24th and help recognize that occasion. And that concludes my report tonight. Thank you.
Thank you very much. With that, I'll ask if there's a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Clerk Benton, please call roll.
Trustee Olson?
Aye. Aye.
Trustee McGovern?
Aye.
Trustee Duffy?
Aye.
Trustee McQuillan?
Aye.
Trustee Simon?
Aye.
Motion passes. We are adjourned. We'll give us a few minutes and we'll reconvene for the branding and the Committee of the Whole.